Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is That Medic Couch Potato, and if you're new to my channel, welcome. I make podcast videos on things that I find of interest. So I hope you enjoy my episodes. Today's episode will be on the city of Stoke-on-Trent. If you've not listened to my videos before, I recently started a History Musings series. Well, when I say recently, I mean back in December 2022, where I talk about different parts of the UK that I visited that I think are of interest, and I thought I'll just mention the history and some of the things you can see if you ever get a chance to visit there. So my first episode focused on the city of Chester, which is right here. It's on the border between north of England and North Wales. It's a very nice city, very small, so you can see quite a lot of things within a few days. And then I moved on to the village of Keele. Now I was based in Keele for my degree, my first degree in natural sciences. I actually have a an audio podcast on Keele University and also like the natural science degree I did. And I've also done a video podcast on the history of Keele University. That was my recent video. It is pretty long, around just under 2 hours, so I'm going to try and keep today's episode quite short, so you guys don't get bored. So today's topic would be on the city of Stoke-on-Trent. It's actually not far from the village of Keele and Keele University. If you do decide to go to Keele to study whatever course, you will most likely come into Hanley, especially, which is part of Stoke-on-Trent, to come for like any major shoppings. Other times you would be going to Newcastle-under-Lyme to do most of your grocery shopping. But I'll talk more about that as I go along. So let me just zoom out the map here. So here is the map of the UK. And the red pin is where Stoke-on-Trent is. So you can see the outline here, the red outline where I'm following my cursor. Typically, people always said that Stoke-on-Trent is in the Midlands, and when they say that, they mean Midlands of England, because if you say middle of the UK, it's not really quite middle of the UK, still south, because when you take into consideration Scotland and the islands that are part of Scotland, Midlands would be more kind of like north of England area. So Stoke, I would say, is in the Midlands, so specifically around like the northwest Midlands, I would say. So Stoke, I called it Stoke. Stoke-on-Trent is often abbreviated to Stoke. People don't really say Stoke-on-Trent. It's kind of a mouthful. And it's actually a city as well, with an area of 36 square miles, 93 kilometers square, and has around a population of just under 300,000 people, which means it's the largest settlement in Staffordshire. So Staffordshire is the county that Stoke-on-Trent is part of, along with Keele and Keele University. Obviously there are other parts of it, other areas as well in Staffordshire that also are quite nice to visit. So Stoke's actually really interesting in the fact that it's polycentric. It means it has quite a few different centers of authority or control. Actually, Stoke-on-Trent's formed by 6 towns, and this came into being in 1910. So the towns that form Stoke-on-Trent are Burslem, Tunstall, Stoke-upon-Trent, Hanley, Fenton and Longton, and they form the single county borough of Stoke-on-Trent. I think one of the reasons it came about was due to the Staffordshire Potteries industry that were really popular in Staffordshire. I'll mention more about the Potteries as I go along, but you can read more about why Stoke-on-Trent became a federation online. I feel like if I start mentioning it in this video, it's gonna take too long. So The 6 towns I mentioned, Hanley, which is right here, is the main commercial centre. So this is where you would go if you're a student at Keele University or even at Staffordshire University, which is right here. Hanley is where you would go if you want to visit the Potteries shopping centre. So I'm just zooming in here now. So this shaded area, which involves Snibold to the north there, and all the way down to the Gladstone shopping centre. It's part of the Potteries shopping centre. So it's quite a big shopping centre. Let me just see if I can do a street view. This section here is the car parking for the Potteries. So when you come, you usually turn into here to park your car. You do have to pay for it, but it also leads to the Cineworld and some big restaurants as well. So like things like Nando's, Pizza Express, they're on this side. And then you would take this subway thing to go into the main shopping area, which is the bit here. And that has your big shops like, you know, Primark and all the other things that you might have, clothing stuff as well that you might find of interest. So this is again just the shopping centre from the outlook. Obviously Debenhams is still kind of there, even though it's been closed from business for many years. But I'm not quite sure if you can still use the entrance from Debenhams to go into the shopping centre, because usually in the past when I have come to the Potteries to do shopping, we would enter through here, so it's through the shopping centre, and you can also enter through Debenhams as well, but I think that might be closed now. And this is the road that you would be coming up if you're coming from the bus station. So I'll just show you the city centre wall straight here. Obviously the Potteries is the main shopping centre for like a lot of clothes. We also have things like TK Maxx that's out here, and then there are other shops as well that are of interest when my Wi-Fi does decide to work. Thank you. So things like there's Greggs, you know, KFC, like some other shops like Forbidden Planet. That was quite a cool one to go to when I was there. So it's quite a busy town centre. There's usually like a shop for everything. Quite a lot of charity shops as well. So if you're a student like I was when I lived in Keele, you know, you can get some like really interesting clothes and souvenirs, some like the charity shops. So 1010 recommend visiting this centre when you have the time to do so. Also you have a Wilkinson, Savers, so you can get some fairly affordable like toiletries and household stuff from Savers and Wilco. Ryman's, I believe, are a stationery shop, and if you need that kind of equipment as well, you can get them there as well. Bon Marsh is a clothing shop. So we just go up this road here, and that will take you to the bus station. So this station, so Litchfield Street, I believe is called, and the Hanley bus station is right here on the right. So this newish building. So this is the entrance you would get out of to get to start walking towards the city centre. I'll just show you this venue here. This is the Victoria Theatre. If you get a chance to visit, do so. They do a lot of plays, comedy, music events. It's like other events that go as well, like book tours as well. So definitely worth a visit. So that's the Victoria Hall. There's also the Potteries Museum and Art Gallery. That's a free museum to go to, and it has the history of all the other area, pretty much from like, you know, Victorian times as well as the Roman times as well. There are some Roman remains. They have this plane, I believe it's a Spitfire, I think it's a Spitfire. When I last went, the Spitfire wasn't in this location, it was in a different area. Let me see the picture. Yep, it was in this section, and it was, we were told that it was, this room was built around the Spitfire because it was quite a big plane to be taken into the museum. So this section was built, but obviously they moved the Spitfire since then. I think I went to this museum back in 2017, I think. So 2016, 2017. So obviously changes are due. And they have like taxidermy sections as well, and like different rooms dedicated to different historical sections, like this one for example. So definitely worth a visit. This looks like what would have been a pharmacy back, 1800s perhaps. So yeah, definitely worth a visit, and I believe it is free to enter. You just have to pay for any exhibition that's going on, the temporary exhibitions. But yeah, so there's quite a lot of like shops around Hanley as well, apart from just the museum. So there's also another theatre, the Regent's Theatre, if you wanted to go, again see more like plays and stuff. Unfortunately, I never really went to any of the theatre shows when I was at Keele, but I'm sure they are nice venues. Looks like it from the pictures. So quite a lot of shops and stuff like that. And if you were coming to Hanley from Keele, you would simply have to take the number 25 bus. That would bring you directly to Hanley bus station. You don't even have to get off anyway, just sit in there. Just make sure you take the bus that says Hanley, because sometimes they will stop at just Newcastle-under-Lyme. That's the nearest town to Keele, which is right here. Sometimes they will just stop at the bus station there, and you'll be stuck. So just make sure that you take the bus that says Hanley. And that bus actually also goes through the hospital. So Royal Stoke Hospital is the main hospital in Staffordshire. Sorry, in Stoke-on-Trent. They also actually have a helipad somewhere. They do have a helipad, so if you're, hiking, for example, in the Peak District, parts of the Peak District does come into Staffordshire. You might be, and if you get into an accident, you might end up being airlifted to Royal Stoke Hospital. It is the University Hospital, so if you're doing medicine or midwifery, rehab science, nursing, physiotherapy, any other health science, paramedic science at Keele University that involves having placements, this is the hospital that you will be pretty much based in. If you're a medical student, if you are a medical student at Keele, you will be based in this hospital from your third year onwards. So it's come on, Wi-Fi, thank you. So it's a pretty like it's fairly new in terms of like redevelopment. Wait, let me just show you where the university building is based. In the hospital, it's just gotta come out here. It's kind of hidden behind the trees, but yeah. So this building on the left that's just coming up, this is part of the Keele Medical School. It says Keele University Medical School there, and this is the building you'll be in for your any lectures you have from your third, fourth, and fifth year. I'm not too sure about the nursing students. I'm guessing they'll also be in here if they need to have studies. I'll just show you a bit inside the hospitals also. You can just have a look if you need to. Like I said, the number 25 bus from the university does come into the hospital here, and there's 2 stops for the university for the bus to get off and get on at. So this is one bus stop. This bus stop is the one that you would use if you need to actually come back to the campus, come back to Keele University, or go towards Newcastle. There's a shortcut here that will take you to the main hospital entrance. And this is one of the first stop that you will if you need to go to occupational therapy, which I think is kind of here, this is the stop you would take. You would get off here. Oh, these are another bus company that exists, D&G buses. This particular bus doesn't go towards the university, but it does go to Newcastle, so you can go, you can take it to Newcastle, and then perhaps if you need to go to another venue, useful to have. But if you need to go towards Keele University campus, or even the Staffordshire University campus, the number 25 bus is what you need to take. And then once you see this second stop here, this is where you will need to get off. Usually this stop is pretty busy because the main entrance to the hospital is right there. So this is the stop you will need to get off if you are going to the main entrance, which is here, this building here. Usually this stop is pretty busy anyway, so if you forget to press the bell in the bus, they tend to stop whenever the bus drivers, because a lot of people always take it. And then the other bus station that you could also take the bus towards campus is right here. So this one will take you back to campus. This direction will actually lead you into Hanley. To go down there, let me just show you the main entrance. So this is where you would come if you need to drop people off. So a lot of taxis would come here. So they would drop you off right here. And this is the front entrance when it does load the Wi-Fi. So I've noticed that actually quite a few hospitals now have started doing this. A farmers market now tends to exist outside the main buildings of the hospitals. Pretty useful. They don't last long. I think till stocks last. So you are allowed to. You can buy, fruits and vegetables. I've seen like nut mixes as well being sold there. So if you needed to do your grocery shopping, especially after a night shift, and you don't really want to go to the supermarket after you come back from work, the farmers market is a pretty good convenience because it is located right outside the entrance, and hopefully you can find most things that you need there. Also, if you're a fruit person and you like to have fruits for lunch, they used to do like the fruit salad mix bowls as well. I remember seeing them when I used to go come to this hospital for volunteering. So it is there. They decently priced. I did think they were a bit pricey compared to the markets, but I don't know how much it is now. Some of them also have eggs, so you literally can buy like pretty much most of your weekly shopping in these farmers markets. So again, very conveniently placed. Just to bear it, just a heads up as well, car parking in the UK in all the hospitals are pretty pricey. So if you know you're gonna be there for like a long time, either ask someone to drop you off, perhaps looking into getting the buses. If I just zoom back here, so you see the two buses here. So these are what the buses look like, the Potteries buses. So that's the company that owns these buses, the Potteries. So there's like pinky white blue bus, and it will say the 25 one here, number 25. So this is the bus you will need to take if you're going towards Keele University. This is the bus you will need to take if you're going towards Hanley. Obviously in the UK, people drive on a different side compared to most countries in the world, so just make sure that you know your way around the cars, the driving side, so that you don't get confused and take the wrong bus. When I was studying at Keele, I believe the day tickets on the Potteries was about £5. I don't know if they still are £5, but it was £5 a day, and it allowed me to like pretty much travel on any of the Potteries buses, so I can go anywhere around Stoke-on-Trent with that bus pass. So it's like quite a good deal. Singles, I think the student ticket cost me around £1.80 to get from Keele to Newcastle, but if I was going to the hospital for volunteering, I'd always take the day ticket because it was cheaper to get the day ticket than two singles from the university to the hospital. So just a heads up. So that's just a bit about Hanley. Other places like Tunstall, there's a lot of like parks around this area. Like collieries as well. Staffordshire did have a lot of coal mines. And that played a big role in the Staffordshire pottery industry. Another thing about Stoke as well is the football club. So Portville is a football club, but Stoke City is probably the best known football team in the area, and I'm just trying to find out whether oh, here we are. That's the Bet365 stadium. So this is the main stadium for the Stoke City Football Club. One of the most famous players for Stoke City was Stanley Matthews. So he was very popular, and he's, I think, like probably the best player to come out of Stoke City. So that's the grounds from the aerial view. It's actually a really nice place, Stoke. I enjoyed my living there. The houses as well were like pretty affordable. So 10/10 recommend if you're interested in moving to Stoke-on-Trent. There's some really nice areas. And if you want to have like to get houses like fairly affordable prices, I would definitely recommend Stoke. Especially since the train station Stoke-on-Trent train station, which is right next to the Staffordshire University, and I do find it. So Staffordshire University is here. That's the other university in the area. So the main two are Keele and Staffordshire. They have big rivalries, as you do, and it's pretty good rivalry. It's actually very conveniently placed to the train station. So let me just show you a street view. So this is part of the Staffordshire University on the left here. As I never studied here, I didn't really know much about the courses that they offer. So again, it's up to you to do your own research about places you wanna like about the courses they offer if you're thinking of studying in Stoke. This bit, oh, not here. This building on the left here is the local sixth form club, so again another educational institution, and they offer some degree level courses, but they usually cater for courses that offer the last 2 years of high school, so like your A levels, BTECs, etc. And then the train station is actually right here. So if the Stoke-on-Trent sixth form centre is here, and you have the Staffordshire University just down here. The station is literally right here on the left. So we have to go down, again, very conveniently placed. And the bus stop for this station is actually kind of far, so it's just here. So yeah, oops. That's the bus stop sign there where the person's crossing, and this is the railway station. So very nice looking building. Has 3 platforms, I believe, 3. Yeah. The third one, I know for certainly you can actually take the slow train to Manchester. Opposite the train station is the one of the hotels, so North Stafford Hotel. If you need to stay for the night, that's a good option. They also have a subway right inside here. If you want to have like a more cheaper option of eating, because the cafes inside the train stations all over the UK are kind of pricey. So maybe bring your own food and drink. Yeah. So that's just the station. And if I was to zoom out, actually, you'll notice that Stoke-on-Trent is pretty conveniently located between Manchester and Birmingham. So Manchester to the north, Birmingham to the south. And you can actually get one straight train from Stoke-on-Trent to Manchester and to Birmingham. So to Manchester it takes about 40-ish minutes to 1 hour, depending on whether you take the slow train or the fast train. You don't have to buy the tickets in advance. You can buy it on the day. Sometimes they go pretty cheap on the day. If you're going to Birmingham, I believe it's one straight train. So these are some of the ticket train companies that come to Stoke. So around the West Coast, cross country, EMR. It's also go to Birmingham. Takes about 1 hour, just over an hour by train. And London as well. You can get one direct train to London Euston if you live in London, for example, or if you need to go to the bigger London airports. So sorry, yeah, I just mentioned it'll be going to Manchester Piccadilly. That's the main station in Manchester, and then Birmingham New Street from Stoke-on-Trent. Birmingham. When I was there, I actually went to visit the Christmas markets. So they're there every year, and it's the German Christmas markets, and they're pretty nice. You can find quite a lot of nice food, and Birmingham New Street's right here, and it's near the big shopping centre, Bullring, I think it's called. And if you're not particularly interested in the Christmas markets, or if you wanted a break from the cold weather, I recommend going to the library, which is actually near there. I'm not sure what it's called actually. I think it's just the Birmingham Library. That's a very nice place, and also is another free museum as well. I believe that's towards the end of the market. So if you're like cold and you want to see something else, I recommend the museum as well. It's free entry along with the library as well. Manchester as well has quite a lot of big shopping malls, just like Birmingham. So if you wanted some of the bigger shops, for example, the Primark in Birmingham is like over 4 floors, and they have like a hair salon and restaurant as well. The one in Stoke is nice, but it is kind of small. But it still has things that you need. But if you wanted like more clothes, or like more shops to browse, then I would recommend going to Manchester. If you have a car, I would recommend the Old Trafford Centre in Manchester. But you can still go to the city centre and say for example the Arndale Centre. You can still do shopping there if you needed to. And again, Manchester has quite a lot of museums if you're interested in museum like I am. Manchester Cathedral as well, free entry, so lots of things to see and do in and around Stoke. So one thing I want to mention is the Pottery Museum. So apparently it's currently closed up, but Gladstone Pottery Museum is one of the few museums that still produce potteryware, essentially. So since the 17th century, Staffordshire, or this part of Staffordshire, which I believe is North Staffordshire, where Stoke-on-Trent is, this area has been known almost for industrial scale pottery industry. And the reason it came to be such a prolific area for pottery industry is due to the local availability of clay, salt, lead and coal. So if you listen to my previous video, you'll know that I mentioned a bit about the Raven Mason collection. I'll put a link up to this as well for the Raven Mason collections if you want to visit that whilst you're at Keele University. But the Masons family were one of the producers of one of many rather producers of ceramic potteries back in the 17th, 18th century. I think they had their factory in Trentham. This particular one, Gladstone Pottery Museum, I think it's in Longton, yeah, Longton. So again, still under the Stoke-on-Trent city, but just a different part of it. And they're known for producing a lot of like earthenware, stoneware, and porcelain in large quantities. So, like I said previously, the people that used to own Keele University, Sneed family, they were coal miners, and then the Masons, they were like another family that made their fortune with ceramics. And their descendants, they actually left. They didn't have any heirs, so in 1993, donated quite a lot of their Mason collection that they have inherited over time to the university. So I will put a link up that you can look into if you're thinking of visiting the Raven Mason collections in Keele University. It is free. And they were pretty unique to the fact that they made a lot of like pottery items that were very highly based on like Japanese and Chinese artwork. Now the reason for this is before the pottery industry really took over in Staffordshire, a lot of the potteries were being imported from Japan and China with their kind of like artwork and like the really fine artwork that you find from the Far East. Well, obviously they were expensive, so only the super duper rich people could afford to have these like ceramic plates that I'm showing you on the screen right here. So people sort of thinking, okay, let's try and make it in the area, and ever since the 17th century, Staffordshire, Stoke-on-Trent has been quite a big major producer of ceramic works. Unfortunately, so by the late 8th century, rather, at this point, it's all going good for the ceramics. So North Staffordshire was the largest producer of ceramics in Britain, even though there was like other centres around the country and around the globe. And by the 19th century, people kind of knew a lot about the Staffordshire potteries because of how global scale it was. These pottery works were being done in. Unfortunately, production started kind of declining in the 19th century, even more so after the World War II. And now we don't really get a lot of places that still do it, but Gladstone Pottery Museum, I believe they still do continue to make these, so definitely worth looking into as well. So unfortunately a bit of a dying industry, but there are people still who continue it, and I would definitely recommend visiting the museum there as well. There's also the world of Wedgwood. Wedgwood, founded by Josiah Wedgwood. I believe this is him, and it was established in 1759. This company, they too make ceramics. Kind of a bit more upscale, posh, I suppose you want to call it. Ceramics. I didn't actually get a chance to go to the Wedgwood world of Wedgwood, but I highly recommend if you are able to. And their ceramics as well, took them around the world, and yeah, again, a nice place to visit if you're interested in looking at like different types of pottery collections. So that was the world of Wedgwood. So next on the list that I would recommend visiting when you're in Stoke is the Trentham estate. So the Trentham estate happens to be in the village of Trentham, which is right here to the north, where my cursor is there. And it's still kind of in Stoke, but like on the southern side of it. So this estate was initially recorded in the Domesday Book in 1086, and at that time it happened to be a royal manor. And before that, it used to be an Augustinian priory, which was then followed by a convent. And then Trentham Priory was kind of in this area until the dissolution of the monastery. So from like the 11th century until I think the 1500s, it used to be a priory, Trentham Priory. I don't think you can actually see a lot of the remnants of the priory anymore. I certainly didn't see it when I went. But however, if you are going, and if you do find it, do let me know on the chat. So this picture here that I'm showing to you is part of the Trentham Hall, I believe, part of the Trentham Hall. So back in 1540, so this is after the monastery was abolished by King Henry VIII, the property was sold to this Wolverhampton wool merchant called James Levison. Just a bit of geography, Wolverhampton, south of Staffordshire. It's not part of Staffordshire, it belongs to a separate county, but it's still in the Midlands, so not far from Birmingham. So James Levison, he bought this Trentham estate back in 1540. Pretty much built their own houses over time. So first it was a large Elizabethan house that was then demolished to make way for a later Georgian property. And there's a lot of demolitions and rebuilding that happened pretty much. So around 730, another of the Levison family, John Levison Gower, who was the first Earl of Gower, he built a hall based on Buckingham House. Buckingham House now is Buckingham Palace, and then his son ended up altering that again. So the remnants that you saw on the picture here, let me just show you. So this actually dates from between 1830 to 1842, and it was actually designed by Charles Barry, who was working on the rebuild of the Palace of Westminster. He was later commissioned by the second Duke of Sutherland. So I believe over time this mansion ended up being property of the Dukes of Sutherland. They had their Staffordshire seat, and they had Lancelot Capability Brown to design their park. So this is the 18th and 19th century park. Very, very pretty. I went in May and it looked precisely like this picture that I'm showing you on the screen now. So if you know who Lancelot Brown is, I believe he was a prolific architect, so a landscape architect, and he had quite a lot of different projects, and I think one of his perhaps prolific projects would have been, I want to say, Chatsworth House, but he definitely also had he had quite a lot of other projects as well, but I think Chatsworth House gardens as well were designed by him. So he did quite a lot of Italian-esque type gardens. So you can actually see a mini version of the Italian gardens in let me just show you a picture, in Keele as well. And I think they must have taken the inspiration from from the university, Keele University, and they must have taken the inspiration from Trentham Estate. Eventually, in the 20th century, the house kind of, wasn't really used much, and it fell into disrepair, and it was demolished, and it was one of many to be demolished in the 20th century, and I would say a great loss to the era. So the River Trent, which is like the main river that flows through Staffordshire, so you'll see it here on the map here. It no longer fed the Trentham Lake, even though it's still past the edge of it. So I think all the sewage from the nearby Potteries kind of like polluted the area, so it meant that you couldn't really live in the estate anymore. And in 1905 was abandoned as a house of residence by the Sutherlands, the Duke of Sutherland. And I believe one of the dukes wanted to offer it to Staffordshire County Council as to be used as a higher institute education to possibly house the new North Staffordshire College. However, the council didn't really want to have the estate opened as a um, higher institute plates, so they didn't really want it. So eventually, this fell apart. Also due to the fact that the pollution from the river could make the estate more undesirable to live in. So I think they didn't really want to risk that, I suppose. And then the Dukes again offered the estate to the six Potteries town. And obviously after 1910, when the six towns merged, again the new Stoke-on-Trent Corporation refused to buy the estate due to big high maintenance costs. So eventually in 1912 to 13, the fourth Duke of Sutherland at that point, he demolished the whole. However, parts of the building were still there, so the sculpture gallery, the parish church, and let me see, the and the clock tower were also still there. Trentham Hall ruins. Here you go. So you can still see parts of the ruins. So this is the clock tower that still is there. They're still there. So they are listed, the remnants of it. So I don't think you can do a lot of like properties. However, some of this company did buy it in 1996 to restore the landscape to its former glory. However, they pretty much restored the estate around here, so the Trentham estate, which is this big shopping area. Let me just see if I can get, and it has quite a lot of different shops. You can, I'm going the right way here. You can come to shopping, and the company that bought the estate in 1906, they ended up like creating this big garden center, for example, here. Very nice, kind of pricey garden center. And then if you go down here, there's quite a few like restaurants, like Frankie Benny's, for example, and also like more shops, and car parks as well. Let me just show you some of the shops this has to offer. So things like jewelries, you can buy like jewelers and like outdoor shops as well, and they're like they're very quaint looking shops. This area. So this is what the new development that came about in the late 21st century produced. These like boutique shops in a sense. But look, they're usually more busier than this. I'm not sure why it looks kind of empty. Maybe it's like taken up for closing time. Well, you can find quite different shops here. So Edinburgh Woman Mill is a popular clothing shop in the UK. And they have like candle shops as well, like the one here on the left. And there's quite like a few different eating areas as well, cafes, coffee shops. And this actually is the entrance to the Trentham estate that I just showed you pictures of. Don't worry, I'll go back to the Trent estate. But this is the shopping area of the estate. So quite a lot of things, and I hope you can find something to buy here. They do actually have a factory shop, ceramic factory shop called Dunoon. I'm not quite sure where it is. Let me just find it on the Eagle Eye View. And this particular shop, they sell ceramics, all made in the local area. You can actually buy it online as well. It's Dunoon, Dunoon, Dunoon ceramics. Yeah, and I got a travel mug from there, and it felt nice to wear it, nice to buy it because it was, you know, local made. So you're supporting local, their local companies. And being a medical student, I was also specifically pleased about quite a few of the mugs that they had. They were like science related mugs. So you had one on the anatomy of the human body, and you had one on the like the the biology sciences, also like information on like DNA testing and like how DNA was found. It's pretty cool. I can't seem to find it on here, but I will list up the place so you can see. So I just want to show you this lake, Trentham Lake. It's one of the lakes that formed part of the big estate, and like I said, it was fed initially by the River Trent. You can I don't know if you can fish anymore here, but I don't think you can. But you know, over time it would have been used as a fishing lake, I suppose. But you can, you know, if you want to go for a walk around, you can do so, you know, and it's a really nice place, especially in the summer. And a pretty nice area to go anytime, actually, I would say. So Trentham Gardens, they do actually do quite a lot of like events as well, so do check them out if you're interested. Another high point of Trentham is the Trentham Monkey Forest. So it's the first wildlife park of its kind, was opened in 2005, and it consists of 60 acres of forest, and they contain around 140 Barbary macaws that look a bit like these monkeys that I'm showing. Well, the exact monkey type. And they are pretty much free to wander around this forest, this area. And you have like a 0.75 miles, so around 1.21 kilometer path through the forest along which you can walk. And the monkeys pretty much roam around the area. There are no barriers between the forest and the path. However, you know, do make sure you keep to the path because the monkeys know to avoid you. You don't want to like upset them either. And I believe the park is owned by the De Turckheim family. And the park is pretty much open from April and October. Other times they are closed, but they are open during like the weekends and school holidays in February, March, and November. Do check out the population before you go. Do check out the price and opening times before you go as well. I went there once to volunteer to clean up their habitat slightly to make sure there's like no like tree branches and stuff on the floor. So yeah, it was a fun experience, and the monkeys were pretty harmless. They didn't do anything. They were curious, but they kept themselves because they realized that we were not gonna attack them or anything. So yeah, that's just a bit about the Trentham Monkey Forest. So just a bit of history about the gardens as well. Let me see if I can do like a street view. So like I said, it is a Italian type garden, Italianate gardens rather, and they I think it's around just over 300 acres or 120 hectares of land. Obviously depending on what season you're going to, it looks different. And they were designed as a serpentine park by Keele Brown. Not quite sure what it technically means, serpentine, but it's just, I'm guessing it's like another name for the way it's built, I suppose. If you do know more about it, let me know. I'm guessing it's a type of like architectural definition. They have a nice wisteria section, which is just right here in the distance. You can go to, and it's pretty cool. And yeah, it's a big area. Like, I didn't even finish going to this when I last went. But you can go, and I believe recently the estate gained the license to from Natural England to host a few 4 beavers, so they should be relocating there from 2023. And hopefully, if you decide to go there, you should be able to see the beavers. Let me see if I can get you a better picture of the wisteria, because it is, when I went, it was really nicely bloomed, and you can like walk through it, and it was definitely one of the focal points of our trip, I would say. Oh yeah, so they are grown on this section. This image taken back in 2010. Looks like the wisteria still hasn't like bloomed on the border yet, but you can see them creeping up here. But now they are fairly more mature than this picture shows on Google. Yeah, they look a lot better. The wisteria garden. If you don't know what the wisteria is, it's a blooming plant, a tree rather, and it's really pretty when it's in bloom, because it's like the flowers are really nice and they droop down, and it's like you're in a fairy garden essentially. Speaking of fairy gardens, Trentham is also known for these metal works of these fairies. Let me see if I can find a picture. Oh yeah, this is a figure of, I think, Perseus and Medusa. By the way, just a point. But yeah, so dotted around the Trentham estate are these intricate metal works of fairies, and they were created by a local engineer. I forget the name, but I think it's a gentleman, and he was tasked in making these unique structures from metal wires. And he made these fairies, and you can find them dotted around. The pictures don't do it justice, but they are, there in the. If you go see it, actually, it's nice. Oh, this is what I mean by the wisteria in bloom. It's very pretty. But these fairies are also worth it, and there's, I think, quite a few of them around the estate. Let me see if I can find you what they look like. So this is just the estate website. I'll link it up, don't worry. Here, discover the fairies. So yeah, so I believe it's been around for 10 years, and I think, yeah, Robin White was the gentleman, I believe, who created these unique sculptures. So yeah, definitely worth a visit to see them, especially for kids, So yeah, so that's just a bit about the Stoke-on-Trent city. I'm looking at the time now for the recording, and it's coming up to 55 minutes, so I'll try and stop now. I will include all the list for all the things that I mentioned on here as web links on the description box, so you guys can check it out when you're interested. Obviously, there is more to Stoke-on-Trent than just the places that I mentioned. for example, like Water World, it's like a themed water park they can go to as well, any ages, I suppose. And there's, like I mentioned in my previous episode, Stoke's actually not far from Alton Towers, which is right here. It's a short journey, either, by driving or by train, or even by taxi. So definitely well worth a visit. And it's very well situated as well if you need to go to the Peak District for hiking, etc. Especially the South Peaks, part of it still belong to Staffordshire. So a place like Alstonfield, which is right there. I think it comes under the Derbyshire postcode, but it is kind of really close to Stoke-on-Trent. So that's one of the nice places to go hiking if you're interested. So yeah, so that was just a bit about Stoke-on-Trent, and I hope you find it of interest. And thank you very much for listening. I'll catch you guys in my next episode.